Ihr Bundestrollamt für gegen digitalen Hass informiert.
Kill me. Now, it is blatantly obvious to anyone that this is just a joke, or at least meant to be a joke. The Federal Troll Ministry for Against Hatred. Just watch yourself.
Sehr geehrte YouTuber und YouTuberinnen, Facebooker und Facebookerinnen, liebe Digital Natives-innen. Das Internet ist in Gefahr. Noch vor 5 Jahren bestand das Netz zu 90% aus Katzenvideos, Fotos vom Mittagessen und Duckface-Selfies. Heute sind es nur noch 39,37%. Der Rest Hasskommentare.
According to them, this is comedy, and according to their webpage, hatred on the internet includes right-wing extremism, anti-Semitism, anti-Gypsyism, I didn't even know that was a word, hate speech against refugees, anti-Muslim racism, hate speech against LGBT, sexism, hate speech against people with disabilities, and their page is dedicated to supposedly counter these things. Now, guess what amazing way of countering these things they propose on this site. What amazing way of bringing across arguments against supposed hate speech on the internet they have to offer. To all of those who may seek their help in countering supposed hatred that they encounter on the internet. Memes. Fucking memes. Really bad memes. Horrible, forced memes. This site, which, by the way, apparently receives funding from the German government and the European Union, is essentially a collection of really bad forced memes for you to download and use on Twitter or Facebook. And on their homepage, they propose something that they call organized love as a measure against hate speech. You might remember that horrible thing called Heart Mob, a failed Kickstarter that attempted to get money to create an online hug box. Well, here we now have the idea of a failed Kickstarter being picked up by a government-financed institution and implemented. This campaign, called No Hate Speech, was launched in cooperation with the government last week, and according to its Twitter following and the like-dislike ratio on its video, most people see right through it. These are essentially a bunch of social pedagogy and communications degree students sharing the common delusion of being able to change the internet or push their ideology on the internet. And if you go to their homepage, you will find that one of its partners is the Antonio Foundation, an organization we talked about before, led by a former Stasi, which basically functions like the Stasi by taking your private information and sending it to the government. You will also find this pathetic statement on their homepage. Male and female haters often claim that it is often difficult to differentiate between hate speech and free speech. But those who have been victims of hate speech know exactly what hate speech looks like. So they claim that only those who have been victims of what they call hate speech can determine what hate speech is. And we all know exactly what kind of people they mean by that, and what kind of people's mindsets are the standards which they set for this abhorrent nonsense. And you supposedly get to define what is and what isn't hate speech. According to a state government publication by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia in cooperation with the Antonio Foundation, we find that your definition of hate speech is not just vague, but outright driven by ideological motivations. According to this paper, saying things such as the threat of Islamization, they threaten our women, or disguising hatred as humor, are hate speech. But most telling of all is that according to you, Gamergate is a criminal organization. Yes, the paper proclaims that Gamergate was a criminal organization. I think this site is a funny, quirky little failure of a thing, an attempt of selling off their disgusting, ideologically driven censorship drive by putting a smiley sticker on the ugly reality of it. And as we can see here, it is being a massive failure, because most within the general public see directly through this bullshit. And I guess they will, more or less, in the end, either disable the likes or shut it down completely, and then return to what they started out with, which is handing over your private information.